Yeah, so I showed you guys the Blake's hitch, right? That's how it works on your main rope. Now this rope that I have here is just a piece of extra rope that I cut off because I wanted to use it for advancing in the tree and moving around the tree, throwing it around branches and so on. So you can, I had it set up already so that I could throw a Blake's hitch on here if I wanted to, and then I could just hang off of this, have my main line which goes up, and then if I needed to lean out to cut a tree branch, right, like I was limb walking back and I needed to tie off to another branch and then just, you know, lean. So what happens is you don't want to just be balancing on a branch. If you're doing some kind of limb removal or something for a customer, you don't want to be just up there with your main line, okay, because you could slip and fall and get hurt, right? You always want to have a couple of extra little ropes for, you know, tying here and tying there, and then you can just be comfortable. You can just lean back into your saddle, your harness, right? They got all kinds of nice harnesses these days, you know, they're just, you know, you got everything you could think of. Okay, I have a very nice harness slash saddle made by Buckingham, and it's designed especially for work at heights, and it's designed to be comfortable because as I'm older, I want to be comfortable when I'm doing my work. You know, I don't want to be uncomfortable. Right. So this is how double rope DDRT works. Right. That's how it works. You got a Blake's hitch, you got a rope that goes up to a crown tie-in, whether it's a cambium saver or a ring and ring, okay, and then this is your main lifeline. Now, the devices out there are devices on the market now that replace the Blake's hitch, okay, they replace the Blake's hitch, and just easier to work with. Blake's hitch, you know, is good, but it's not going to be, sometimes it can get overly tight, making things difficult. You're trying to move around quickly and do stuff. You know, mechanical devices are really nice. They're strong. You know, you don't have to worry about them. Especially after they've been on the market for a number of years. You get some that just came out or something, let somebody else climb on that first, right? You always sit back and watch for a couple, 3, 4, 5 years before you adopt something for yourself. Let something get proven in the field. That's the way I've always been. I'm still here. So yeah, so that is the very basic of a tree climbing system. DDRT Blake's hitch. This is what I started with, and I still use it to a point. I used various variations of it that either I came up with myself or somebody else came up with, or you know, you can get quite inventive doing this stuff. You know, this is something that I built. It's a cambium saver. Well, no, it's not a cambium saver. Well, they might call it a cambium saver. It's a ring and ring, right? So basically, you have a tail, split tail here, with a ring, steel ring. The steel ring is rated to over 15,000 pounds, so it's 70 kN. Made by ISC over in in the UK. Anyway, so this is on a split tail, what's called a split tail. So this is a piece of Samson. No, this is not Samson. Is this Samson or? Yeah, this is Samson rope. Okay. And this is spliced back in. So basically, this rope, it's spliced. They spliced it back into itself, and when you put weight on it, it tightens up like a Chinese finger puzzle. You see, it ain't gonna fail. It's not gonna fail like a knot is gonna have less strength than this splice. Okay. So anyway, this is on here with a Blake's hitch. Okay, this split tail made by Samson. It's on this device that I've made. Okay, with the Blake's hitch. So it will slide. Okay, along this doubled rope, and this doubled rope is Samson also. And I have another. This is a larger ring over here, steel ring. Same thing, same rating, 70 kN, made in the UK. Anyway, I bought this rope from Tree Stuff, treestuff.com, no affiliation. The rope is rated at 6,500 pounds, so I just doubled it up here, so I got an eye there, and then I've got I sewed it, and then I've sewed it there, and then I've got heat shrink over that. Okay, and that kind of keeps all that as an eye. And then I went down, and then every so often I just used Coates upholstery thread, and just made sure that it would stay together, right? It's not for strength, it's just to keep the two ropes together, right? So I did it like 3 times there. And then on the bitter ends over here, they're melted off, and electrical tape down there. But down here, this is same thing, all sewed, and then I put a bunch of heat shrink down here, different types and so forth, to layer it up and make it thick. And when you heat it up, it's got glue in there, so it will glue itself to the rope. Of course, I sewed the bitter ends together down here. Sewed them up well, and then I put those different layers, and on the outside, just like on the other end there, this particular heat shrink is the hard variety, so I put that on the outside for wear resistance, right? And what that does is it will just keep that from accidentally sliding off. But Blake's hitches are very strong when you set them, okay? Very strong. Cornell University did a study with the Blake's hitch, and dropping various weights out of trees with slack ropes and all kinds of stuff, and Blake's hitch never failed. It would just get tighter on the rope. The rope would never fail either. And sometimes you got things like a descender or something like that. They had instances where they used just to simulate somebody using like a Gibbs, right? But not necessarily that. Disclaimer, I don't know what brand they use, but I'm just telling you, kind of like an ascender-descender device, right? If someone were to use that on the rope, then they did have rope damage in their testing and stuff. I don't remember if they had any complete failures. I don't remember, but I did I did check into their studies. Cornell University, upstate New York, so Ivy League college. Probably back when the Ivy League colleges were actually they actually taught stuff. I'm stirring the pot again, ain't I? So anyway, yeah. Just what this is for is so that you can. This is ring and ring, right? That means is this is my anchor in the top of the tree. So I got this up in the top of the tree. Don't ask me how I got it up there, because I can't tell you to where you'd understand anyway. So anyway, I got it up there in the top of the tree. You notice one ring is smaller than the other. That's so when I retrieve the ring, right? So when I retrieve this ring and ring from the tree, I'm on the ground down on the grass, the base of the tree, and let's say I've still got my rope up through there. So my rope is up through this ring and ring in the top of the tree, right? It's up there. Let's say it's like 80 feet up. This is going through, or going around the trunk of the tree up there, right? And there's my rope. So I've been working and tree trimming, right? So that's my lifeline right there. But now I'm done tree trimming. I'm not cutting down the tree. I'm just trimming the tree. So I want to get my rope back, and I want my ring and ring back, and I don't want to have to go all the way up there to get it and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end of the rope that is on the side of the large ring, okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie myself a nice little knot there. I'm just going to go just like that. Got myself a nice little knot that will pass through that big ring, but it won't pass through the little one. You see what I'm saying? There we go. So I put that knot up far enough away from the bitter end, I don't have to worry about it accidentally untying, right? So anyway, this is up in the tree, right? So now I'm going to pull my rope. I'm just going to pull it. And I'm going to pull it and shake it a little bit, and it will go through the big ring. Now the big ring is loose. That end, right? Now this cannot go through the little ring, right? So I just keep pulling, right? I keep pulling on my rope, and this comes around the trunk, and then it starts coming down the tree. So you got to watch out when it comes down. You get a headache, right? This is one of the reasons why we wear hard hats, right? So that's how you get the ring and ring down from the tree. Well, that's been a very good device for me. Now, I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm always running out of time, man. So, we talked about Blake's hitch. We talked a little bit about ring and ring. Now you can buy ring and rings. All right, here's a couple of options. You could buy a ring and ring. This one's got steel rings. About a minute left there. So this is a really old one. This one has aluminum rings, and this is like 25 years old. Yeah. So that one's about 25 years old, and it's got aluminum. I don't remember why I got it. Maybe it was the only one I could get at the time, but I generally don't like aluminum rings because steel, in an industrial setting, steel is just always better. These rings are steel on this one, and each side is color coded. You know, so thing about this is you only got one size, right? And the other one I made it so that I could just vary the size and not have this big thing up there. Alright guys, see you in another one.